Morbid Facts, Part 502. These photos from 1999 show Columbine student Dustin Gorton after being told the shooters were his good friends Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold. Dustin was reportedly a very nice kid and couldn't fathom his friends killing 12 innocent students. In 2020, Alita Aliquin took an online DNA test which showed a 22% match with a man she didn't know. She would soon discover that the man was her still-alive uncle, who was kidnapped in 1951 at the age of 6 and had been missing for nearly 70 years. After he was abducted from a park in Oakland, he was flown to the East Coast and raised by a couple as their own. While filming The Wizard of Oz, MGM executives referred to 16-year-old Judy Garland as an ugly duckling and little hunchback. They made her wear caps on her teeth and rubber discs in her nose, and put her on a strict diet of chicken soup, coffee, and 80 cigarettes per day. All of this likely contributed to her struggles with addiction later on in her life. Here's a map of all the sunken Imperial Japanese Navy ships of World War II. Speaking of ugly ducklings, The Swan was a 2004 reality show where participants underwent extreme makeovers including plastic surgery to transform from ugly ducklings into swans for a final beauty contest. Despite putting up big numbers, the show was canceled after just 2 seasons due to public backlash. Morbid Facts, Part 433. In 1981, 3 young men found the murdered body of a woman laying in a roadside ditch in Ohio. She was known as the Buckskin Girl because of the poncho she'd been wearing, but police struggled to identify her for decades. That was until 37 years later in 2018 when DNA analysis identified her as hitchhiker Marcia King. Her mother had still been living in the same house with the same phone number, never giving up hope that her daughter may return home one day. Marcia's murder remains unsolved, but the case is still open. In a form of doping known as boosting, wheelchair athletes with spinal injuries will sometimes intentionally injure themselves below the waist to cause their bodies to respond by raising blood pressure, thus enhancing their performance. Techniques include clamping down on a catheter to overfill the bladder, breaking toe bones, and administering electric shocks to the legs, feet, and testicles. Boosting has been completely banned by the International Paralympic Committee since 1994. Morbid Facts, Part 360. In 2021, University of Missouri student Danny Santoli was rushing to become a new member of the Phi Gamma Delta fraternity. Knowing the process was hard on him, his family urged him to back out, but he wanted to prove himself to the fraternity bros. On October 19th of that year, the fraternity held their Pledge Father reveal night, which would end up going down as one of the worst hazing disasters in American history. Along with the other pledges, Danny was blindfolded and led down to a basement where he was force-fed beer through a tube and told to finish an entire 750 of Tito's vodka. Around midnight, Danny was sitting on the couch in extreme distress with a blood alcohol level of 0.468, nearly 6 times the legal limit. Soon enough, Danny became unresponsive and was rushed to the hospital in cardiac arrest. He was later declared brain dead as a result of alcohol poisoning and spent the next 8 months in the hospital. He's now blind, unable to walk, talk, or do virtually anything by himself. 11 members of the frat were criminally charged for the horrific incident.